Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the films that I watched this week. These weeks seem to roll around pretty damn quick. Next week, I do believe we'll be in May, if you can believe that. Anyway, not a lot to get through here, but we'll get through them. First film I watched was a film that I own, but I didn't watch my copy. I watched it somewhere else. Might have been on TV. Apollo 13. Everyone should know what Apollo 13 is. Tom Hanks, Kevin Bacon, and a lot of other people. Good cast. 1995, but it's one I've never loved. And I was hoping this would send me off into a kind of a science fiction / space kick, but it didn't. But it's a good film. It's a well-made film. 7 out of a 10. Then a film that Bob watched a couple weeks back from 1947 called The Ghost of Mrs. Muir. Mrs. Muir, Gene Tierney, she buys a cottage, but it's haunted by an old sea captain played by Rex Harrison. And one thing happens, another thing happens, they fall in love, and I really liked the ending of this. Throughout the entire film, it was okay to watch. I didn't mind it one bit, but at the end, I thought that's nice. And there's a scene that just got me thinking for a brief minute. Just as they walk out the door, she looked back. I just thought, shit, imagine that. I don't want to spoil it in case, but a 6 out of a 10. Not bad at all. Then this film called Flawless. There's also a film called Flawless from the mid-noughties with Michael Caine, but this is completely different. I didn't know what this would be. I just saw it from 1999. I'll watch anything from the 90s and anything from the 80s, to be honest, but it's got Robert De Niro and Philip Seymour Hoffman in it. De Niro lives in this apartment block, which also has a lot of drag queens that live there, and he doesn't get on with them. They annoy him, he annoys them. There's a scuffle going on in a floor above where De Niro lives, and he goes up there with a gun, but he has a stroke on the way up. One side of his face is, it's hanging. He can't speak properly. He needs a stick to walk. And for therapy, they say singing lessons would help. So he goes to Philip Seymour Hoffman for singing lessons. He's a drag queen, but also wants to become a real woman, save enough money up to become a woman. And these two people strike a chord with each other. And I enjoyed it. I really did. I thought it was at times fun film, at times a touching film from 1999. Flawless. I give it a 6. First time watch, as was The Ghost of Mrs. Muir. This is not a first time watch. It comes from this box set right here. It comes from the Superman box set. And I watched Superman 2. The Richard Lester cut. Now, I don't care if it's the Richard Lester cut, the Richard Donner cut, they're both in here. I don't care. I enjoy them both. But, this is a lot of fun. Superman gives up his powers for Lois, just as 3 Kryptonians have been released from the Phantom Zone. General Zod, played wonderfully by Terrence Stamp, and his 2 cronies, and it's just a lot of fun. Superman 1 and 2 have a lot of heart, and a lot of that comes from Christopher Reeve. But a very good film. I give it an 8 from 1980. Then I watched Man of Steel, a polarizing film. Some people love it. Some people hate it. That's not Superman. Now, while I was sneezing earlier for like half an hour, while it looks and is technically probably superior, it's got a massive budget, the special effects are superb, the way that Superman and the Kryptonians move, they fight each other, Feora fighting, that's how Kryptonians would move. They wouldn't move at our speed like in Superman 2, but it's a different time. But this is soulless. This, until perhaps towards the end, it's heartless. It's drab in colour, it's cold, it's sterile. But I do still enjoy it. I give it a 7 out of a 10. When I first saw it, I'd give it a 9. It's just, they're completely different times, completely different Supermen, and just everything about them is different. CGI heavy, everything looking immaculate. Maybe looks a bit ropey to some people, but I think the flying scenes are superb in that. Anyway, Man of Steel, give it a 7. Then a film from 1986 called Children of a Lesser God. William Hurt. He is a teacher. He goes to this school for deaf people, falls in love with a former student who's mopping floors, thinks she's clever and she wants to help her, or help her speak, learn to speak because she's deaf, doesn't speak. They fall in love and ups and downs of their relationships. The girl that was his love interest, I think she won the Oscar, and she is deaf in real life, which I just thought that's a nice touch. And I give it an 8 out of 10. I rather enjoyed it a first time watch. Then another film that I own, but I saw it somewhere else. It's somewhere around 1984's Red Dawn. Kind of a what-if film. You know, America gets invaded, and it's up to the Wolverines, led by Patrick Swayze, to fight back. Everyone knows Red Dawn. Give it a 7. Then a film that is probably fictionalized, but it is based on the Nuremberg trials after World War II. Judgment at Nuremberg. Spencer Tracy is a judge drafted into sit in a trial for these Nazis. You know, all the Nazis have killed themselves. You know, Hitler, Goering, Goebbels, Himmler, they all killed themselves, so they have these people. But Lancaster, Judy Garland, Richard Widmark, Marlene Dietrich, and a lot of other people. 3 hours, but very interesting and very good. An 8 out of a 10. Very interesting indeed. And last but not least, film I've only seen once before, Bonnie and Clyde, based on real people. Everyone knows Bonnie and Clyde. Robbing banks, shooting people, killing people. 1967. I forgot that. Who did I forget? Gene Hackman was in this, and I completely forgot, even more so, that Gene Wilder was in this. But an 8 out of a 10, a very good film. Lots of shooting, lots of action. Faye Dunaway, beautiful woman. A very good film, Bonnie and Clyde. And that is everything I've watched this week. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week.